Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the ultimate 2026 blueprint for building, hosting, and optimizing a massively profitable digital business. We're going to look at the absolute cutting edge of AI automation and conversion rate optimization to show you exactly how top creators are scaling their revenue right now. So grab a notepad because we're jumping right in.
Okay, let's tackle this provocative question head-on right out of the gate. Is the era of passive income dead? Well, honestly, the old way of making money online is absolutely 100% dead. And here's why. Consumers in 2026 are suffering from intense, overwhelming noise fatigue. If you're just pumping out generic ChatGPT-generated ebooks and crossing your fingers, you are literally competing with a million other people doing the exact same thing. That old passive income dream of set it and forget it with basic content just doesn't work anymore. But a new, data-driven empire is taking its place.
And this quote right here, this perfectly illustrates our core truth for today. Listen, customers do not want more noise. They don't want more stuff to read. What they actually want are specific AI-driven solutions to micro-problems. They don't want to spend hours learning how to use a new tool. They want a product that just does the heavy lifting for them. To succeed today, you have to transition from being a traditional content creator to becoming a true solution architect. To close the gap between your ideas and actual revenue, we're going to explore three interconnected pillars today: architecting AI solutions, hosting your digital empire, and the art of conversion. Let's get into it.
Pillar number one, architecting AI solutions. We're talking about moving from a content creator to a solution architect. Now, what's really interesting here is the stark contrast between the past and the present. The old way basically meant setting up a digital stall on a wildly saturated marketplace like Etsy, totally guessing what people wanted and fighting for these razor-thin margins. It was a race to the bottom. But the new way? It's all about building a highly targeted AI-powered solution, selling it on a storefront that you actually own, and using real behavioral data to scale aggressively. You're no longer renting space on someone else's terms, you're owning the entire ecosystem. And the secret shortcut to making that ecosystem profitable is bridging what we call the implementation gap. It's that frustrating space between a customer knowing what they need to do and actually getting it done. Your product needs to bridge that gap. So instead of selling, say, a 50-page PDF guide on real estate lead generation, which they have to read and then figure out how to apply, you offer an AI template that instantly qualifies leads for solo realtors. Boom! You're solving a massive micro problem in seconds. That is what people are willing to pay a premium for.
So how do we actually build this? Well, the crucial point is following these four exact steps. First, you find that highly specific niche problem. Second, you use recursive prompting with an LLM. Basically, you ask the AI to brainstorm pain points. Then you ask it to design workflows for those specific points, digging deeper and deeper. Third, you build a rapid prototype, your MVP. And finally, step four, and this is absolutely crucial, you add the human moat. You see, AI search engines can spot generic fluff from a mile away now. To stand out, you must inject your unique first-party data, your personal case studies, and your original insights, things that no AI could ever just hallucinate. That is your ultimate competitive advantage. Now, if you're going all in and building a fully autonomous AI agent, you must follow this specific, strict path to avoid total failure. First, define a very narrow scope. Do not try to make an AI agent that does everything. It will fail. Make it do one thing perfectly. Second, design a tight system prompt with hard guardrails. Third, pick the right LLM for the job. Maybe it's Claude Sonnet 4.5 for coding or a GPT model for text. Fourth, equip it with tools using the Model Context Protocol. Fifth, build in a robust memory system so it remembers user interactions. And finally, test and iterate relentlessly before you even think about launching.
Okay, with your product built, let's transition to Pillar 2, hosting your digital empire. Let's find the exact right home for your products and your community.
We've put together this breakdown to save you hours of research. When you're choosing a platform, you basically have three distinct paths. If you want a fully independent, custom-branded storefront where you control everything, Hostinger is incredible. It gives you an entire website and domain for about $50 a year. Pretty unbeatable. Now, if you are heavily focused on building a community, WAP completely dominates that space, especially because they have zero monthly fees and just take a small 2.7% transaction cut. And if you're doing advanced, high-ticket course marketing with complex funnels, Kajabi is still an absolute powerhouse in that specific arena. And when we analyze alternatives to platforms like School, your choice really depends entirely on the vibe of your users. WAP stands out right now because it lets you seamlessly monetize paid communities through bundled digital products, plus it has great built-in engagement tools like wheel giveaways and native video calls. But Mighty Networks is phenomenal if you want a deeply integrated, whitelisted mobile app experience. Circle.so provides a stunning premium UI with really robust moderation tools. And of course, good old Discord is still the undisputed king if you have a highly tech-focused audience and want a free barrier to entry.
Which brings us to the final and honestly most critical pillar, the art of conversion. This is all about scaling your revenue using behavioral data.
Let's get real for a second. It is a shocking reality that the average conversion rate across industries is only around 2 to 5%. Think about what that actually means. Out of every 100 people who land on your beautifully designed, perfectly hosted page, 97 of them just leave. They bounce, without paying you a dime. Getting traffic in the first place is incredibly expensive and time-consuming, right? So converting the traffic you already have sitting right there on your site is where you find the real exponential leverage. And this right here is why conversion rate optimization, or CRO, is basically magic. Raising your conversion rate from just 2% to 3% doesn't just bump a vanity metric on a dashboard. It yields a massive 50% increase in revenue from the exact same amount of traffic. Let that sink in. You spent $0 extra on ads, you didn't have to go viral on social media, you just fixed your funnel and your revenue jumped 50%.
And if you want to see what happens when you really nail this, look at a real-world example from our sources, Interplay Learning. By analyzing their website and applying these principles, they triggered a staggering 183% jump in their demo conversions. 183%! So the obvious question is, how exactly did they do it?
Well, the secret is they didn't guess. They used behavioral analytics. Utilizing a platform called Lucky Orange, they literally watched real user session recordings and looked at dynamic heat maps. And by doing that, they spotted massive friction right on their pricing page. People were getting confused or overwhelmed, so they ran a test, and their winning move was actually totally counterintuitive. They decided to hide the visible pricing on the main page. Because they let the behavioral data drive the decision instead of their own assumptions, clicks on their basic plan doubled, hitting 25%. To replicate that kind of massive success, you have to treat this process like a science. It's a structured loop. First, define your specific conversion goals, both big macro goals and small micro goals. Second, measure your baseline rates so you know where you're starting. Third, act like a detective and gather that behavioral data. Fourth, identify the exact bottlenecks. Where are users rage-clicking? Where are they abandoning their carts? And fifth, form testable A/B hypotheses to fix those exact friction points.
Of course, your tech stack needs to be set up to cover all these bases. You need an analytics layer, like Google Analytics 4, for the hard quantitative numbers. You need a testing layer, like Optimizely or VWO, to run your A/B tests. You need a feedback layer for on-site surveys. But the real game changer is the behavioral layer. Tools like Lucky Orange now have AI discovery features built right in. This means you can literally type a natural language question like, "Why are mobile users abandoning their carts on the checkout page?" And the AI will analyze thousands of user sessions to give you the answer instantly. It's like having a data scientist on staff 24/7.
Ultimately, bringing this entire digital empire blueprint together requires a massive mindset shift. Optimization isn't just a one-time task you do right after you launch. It has to be your entire business culture. It's a continuous improvement program. When you combine incredible AI solutions that solve real problems, strategic hosting that fits your community, and a culture of relentless testing, all those small 10% gains start to compound over time into a massive, unstoppable business.
So I'm going to leave you with this thought to spark your next big move. Ask yourself, are you building products based on what you hope people want, or are you actually letting the data tell you what they need? What will your empire look like when you finally stop guessing? Until next time, keep optimizing, keep testing, and keep building.